Today, you're going to discover 3 steps to make your wife happier, less critical of you, open up, and become that feminine, happy woman that she was on the day of your wedding. If that sounds good to you, smash like and let's begin. My name is Josh Hudson. Welcome to the Marriage Mastery YouTube channel, where I help men find and keep their ideal relationships by reaching their full potential and accepting themselves in the process. Now, oftentimes your wife over time can become closed off, more emotionally distant, and that once loving, happy woman can become cold, closed off, and just completely resentful, treating you the worst. Okay? Now, the worst part about all this is she may treat you that way. But then when you see her with the neighbors, with her friends, with the kids, she is that woman that you want her to treat you as. So you think to yourself, what is it about me? Why can't she treat me that way? Why is she so closed off and cold and distant to me? Let's jump into the first strategy in order to get her to open up and become happy again, through mastering your masculinity. The first technique that you must master in order to get your wife happy again, these are all ways, by the way, to master masculinity, because the reason why she is so closed off is because she can no longer trust you to lead her again. Okay, so the first one is, instead of reacting, you must learn to respond. Now, one of my first clients' name was Joe. Now, Joe, when he first had his first marriage, every time his wife would have a criticism, every time she was upset, he would think to himself, oh my God, what do I do? He would panic. And always, the main difference between men and women in communication is that when your wife has a problem, you get reactive and you try to solve her problem. Now, on the surface, as a guy, you're thinking to yourself, well, if I'm trying to make her feel better, isn't that a good thing? You would think so, but the truth is this. When you are trying to make her feel better, unfortunately, when you try to solve her problems, the message she gets on the inside underneath your words is, you should not feel this way. And a woman wants to be accepted for the way she feels. So by trying to take her out of that problem, by Joe, every time his wife had an issue and he was offering her solutions, she was getting the message, you should not feel this way. So as an example, Joe told me, one time his wife was having a struggle at work. The boss was just a complete a-hole to her. And Joe was like, well, why don't you just quit? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Instead, what Joe needed to do to make his wife feel connected and not get reactive himself was to simply say, man, you must have it so hard. You feel so frustrated and so just unappreciated at that work. I don't know how you deal with that. If I'm going to give you a basic framework to use with your wife or girlfriend, it's this. You feel blank emotion because of this reason. So to put it in its simplest form with Joe, he would say to his wife, you feel unappreciated because your boss doesn't see what you do. Now, there's something called the pragmatics of human communication, and there's something in that book called punctuation. Punctuation is the basic idea that whenever we have a thought or emotion, it's this flowing energy in us. And once someone else can reflect that energy or that piece of communication, it gets punctuated and then it can expel. It can move on and we can move forward with the way we process our emotions. But by trying to solve the problem, it's like this thing getting stuck against it, that you're trying to say, hey, do you see what I am feeling right now? And when you're trying to solve the problem, you're saying, I don't want you to have this. I don't want you to do this. And so you push it away and she feels discarded. So get out of your logical solution strategy with a woman and instead recognize that when she has a problem, she's seeking connection, not for advice. All right. Number 2, create safety. Now, emotional and psychological safety is the number 1 need, the primary base need a woman has. There are different stages of a good relationship, okay? And the bottom rung, the bottom need is this emotional safety. And every time your wife has these moods and emotions and chaos, women are just this storm of emotions, okay? And whenever you just cannot make her feel understood, she does not feel that you are safe with her. Every time you avoid, every time you try to solve her problem, she thinks to herself, these emotions are not allowed. I cannot express them. And she doesn't feel safe with you. I want you to imagine the metaphor I always give men is that you are the shore. Okay, you are the solid base in her life. She is the ocean. Sometimes the ocean can slowly caress the shore and be gentle and nice when your wife is happy. And that's what you like. But sometimes those same emotions can crash into the shore. They can be just rough and raging. But as the man, you are still unmovable. But if you retreat, and you run away from her emotions, the difficult ones, she will start to close off to you. The best way to master this process of becoming that shore for her, that rock, that stable base, is understanding how to deal with your own difficult emotions. And for so many men, they choose to avoid. Okay, number 3 is to provide structure for her. Now, I know for many women in the Marriage Mastery Program, they have a big commonality. They're all very stubborn and they're very independent, right? Now, that's a big reason why you're attracted to your wife or girlfriend. But simultaneously, she has to be in this masculine role in her job. But when she comes home, she doesn't want to be in this role. Her default state is to be that way because you have not stepped up as a man. However, she wants you to make decisions. She wants you to be assertive. She wants you to provide structure for her. Because in its base form, it takes calories and expenditure and energy to make decisions. And she wants to relax. And the more she has to step into her masculine role and make decisions, and when she's stressed out, she becomes unhappy. All right? So as another story example, one of the men in the Marriage Mastery Program, he was talking about how his wife wanted to choose a new paint for their master bedroom. And she had 3 different types of paint that she wanted, but she wasn't sure. Now the husband thought, you know what, to make her happy, I'm gonna say you can choose whatever one you want. I don't care. Your choice. Because in his mind, if he gives her the autonomy, that she'll be happy. But that stressed his wife out. And he was actually taking the back seat. When instead, what you should say in those moments, when it comes to the food or the paint, or where to take the kids, where to go on vacation, you say, this is what I think, but I'm open to your suggestion. Give your opinion in every situation. Moving forward in life, how can you add 10% more leadership to the man that you are? As a little technique that I teach my men as well, I call it the 3-2-1 technique. So when it comes to a restaurant or anything in life, I want you to pick 3 different options. Out of those 3, tell her to choose 2, and then you will choose the final one. So that's a good little technique to add more structure and leadership. And I'm telling you, the more you lead, the more she will follow. She will get on your ship. And the last component of this is to alter your beliefs about who you are as a man. You see, James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits. And in that book, he talks about creating a new behavior. And he lays out 3 different ways that we could do this. Okay? In the book, he gives the example of running. So if you want to be a runner, he talks about the highest level, which is the least influential, about 5 to 10%, is changing your habits or your behaviors. So when it comes to running, as an example, he says simply, joining a running club or buying new running shoes or downloading a running app, right? Those are different habits, behaviors that can allow you to start to run more. He says on a deeper level, on a more influential level, to start the habit of running is changing your environment. Now what this would look like is putting your running shoes by the door, going to bed in your running clothes if you're gonna run in the morning, right? Joining running groups and go to those groups to be surrounded by more runners. But he said the number one way to become a runner in the experiment is that people adopted the identity of becoming a runner. They would say, I am a runner, right? They would start to associate their identity with I am whatever they want. So for yourself, I want you to start saying that you are a leader, that you are the captain of your own ship. You are the master of your domain. You are the king of your empire, okay? I want you to start to adopt this identity of being the leader, and leading will become a natural thing that you do. Now, there's a couple spots open each week in my Marriage Mastery Program. So if you're struggling in your marriage, you want to turn it around, you want to have reconciliation with your wife and have a better marriage than you ever had before, click the link down below, set up a free call with me or my marriage evaluator. On that call, we'll go over the current strategy of how you got to where you are and how to create the future you want with your wife with a blueprinted ERM method that I developed over the past 8 years as a licensed therapist working with hundreds of men from around the world. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.